Good evening and thank you for joining us on NTV Weekend Edition this Sunday. I'm Mildred Pedun together with Susan Mjawananda on sign language. Here are the day's top stories.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
Tonight,
joint opposition caucus.
The leader of opposition in parliament says they are considering whether to attend the UPDF amendment bill hearings on Tuesday.
I request whoever has counsel.
The relatives of recently kidnapped lawyer Abednassa Mudiobole appeal to security agencies to help them find their missing person.
I don't know any reason why he has been abducted.
Also on NTV Weekend Edition, Pope Leo XIV takes office as Pontiff of the Catholic Church in his inauguration Mass at St. Peter's Square in the Vatican, marking the official start of his papacy. And we meet Ansel Hugh Jameson, the son of an American medic who has lived in Kanungu district for 10 years, embracing the Ruchiga culture in order to better serve the locals.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition. You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
Welcome once again. This is NTV Weekend Edition. You can follow the conversation online using the hashtag NTV News. In our top story tonight, on Tuesday, Parliament will receive a second reading of the UPDF Amendment Bill, aimed at, among other things, reintroducing provisions that allow military courts to try civilians. The matter has attracted consternation from a section of opposition, with some considering boycotting the hearings. However, the leader of opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, says they are yet to decide on whether to attend the hearings.
On Tuesday, 13th May 2025, the Minister of Defense presented a draft Uganda People's Defense Force Amendment Bill 2025, which, among other proposals, seeks to empower the military courts to try civilians under certain circumstances.
The House, the guidance I'm getting from you, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Uganda People's Defense Forces Amendment Bill 2025 be read for the first time.
Presiding over the House, Speaker Anita Among urged committees to process the bill before the end of the fourth session.
Honourable members, I expect the committee to handle this and should be resolved before the end of the fourth session. So I expect the bill back soon.
However, Leader of Opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, is concerned that the bill is being hurriedly processed illegally, and this could lead to a lackluster law that will impact innocent people.
Somebody is being called to appear before the committee at 9 a.m., but the letter is reaching their office at 8 a.m. And you want them within 1 hour to show up for this committee meeting to give their views on a 150-page bill. That's ultra-vires. It is unacceptable before the law. Because you see, the law gives committees 45 days to process a bill.
Among the proposals, the bill seeks to provide for exceptional circumstances under which civilians may be subject to military law and to prescribe offences for which civilians may be tried by the courts martial. Senyonyi insists that the Supreme Court has already pronounced itself on the matter in its January ruling, which ended the trial of civilians in military tribunals. He added that members of the opposition will meet tomorrow to decide on whether to boycott the Tuesday hearing.
We are going to meet as the Joint Opposition Caucus tomorrow morning to deliberate on this, but also generally this bill.
In February, some suspects who were being tried by the General Court Martial had their cases moved to civilian courts. These included four-time presidential contender Dr. Kizza Besigye, who is now battling charges to include treason. Dr. Besigye, who had his criminal case files transferred to the High Court, has now been at Ruzira Maximum Security Prison for 6 months. His lawyer, Arias Lukwago, insists that his client's continued stay in prison without a sentence or formal trial contravenes the law.
He is supposed to report back to the Chief Magistrate for mention on the 21st day of this month. That is next week, Wednesday. Since he has clocked 6 months on remand, he's entitled to mandatory pay. So we are going to push for his release, even when we appear before court on 21st. The battle is about the release of Dr. Kizza Besigye unconditionally.
It remains to be seen if Dr. Besigye's next attempt at seeking formal release from jail will yield any success. Juliet Nalwoga, NTV.
Thank you, Juliet, for starting us off. Now, the relatives of lawyer Abednassa Mudiobole, who was reportedly kidnapped by suspected security officers, are appealing to government to help them find their person. According to his relatives, he is a diabetic who is on medication but has not taken any medication for 3 days, something that now worries them. They now demand that he be brought to court to face any charges if they exist.
These are some of the photos that have been circulating on social media since Friday night, announcing the abduction of city lawyer Abednassa Mudiobole. After leaving the NUP party headquarters in Makere Kavule, Mudiobole reportedly drove to Charlie Wajala, where he was going to meet a client who had asked him to defend them in a land case.
I don't know any reason why he has been abducted or why he has been held incommunicado from Friday up to today.
According to Bena Mutemba, Mudiobole's wife, she received an anonymous call informing her that her husband, Mudiobole, had been abducted by people suspected to be part of the state's security. She recalls that a lady, only identified as Patricia, informed her that she had been placed on gunpoint to get Mudiobole to meet her.
Told me that she had received a call from a person who introduced himself as a client and that they had a land issue that they wanted Patricia to work on. So Patricia agreed to meet with those men, with that man or in a place she didn't disclose to me. So they met, and in that place, she says she was pushed into a Nwaka.
Upon arriving at Gold Rock Hotel, Mudiobole is said to have been abducted. Since then, Mudiobole's wife has unsuccessfully sought answers from various police stations.
She was instructed to call Council Nasa and inquire where he was. So Patricia called Council, put him in loudspeaker, and led them to Gold Rock Hotel where he was waiting for me from.
She later filed a case of a missing person at Chida Road Police Station, but nothing has come of it since. She's now pleading with anyone who could be holding her husband to produce him either at police or in court if he has charges to answer, or free him. Temba is particularly worried of her husband's medical situation, saying he's diabetic.
The more he keeps into unlawful custody, the more he does not access his medicine, something which is very dangerous on his life. He will get effects and he gets problems. So I request whoever has counsel to get to me. I give him his medicine to take to him. If they cannot give him to me.
In the meantime, the Uganda Law Society has also joined the campaign to have him released from his abduction. According to Uganda Law Society Vice President Anthony Asimwe, they plan to file a habeas corpus so he can be presented in court.
Of course, what we plan to do if NASA is not released or if he's not presented or not allowed to have access to his lawyers, to his doctors, or to be accessible by his family by close of business tomorrow, we intend to go to court and file an application for habeas corpus.
Asimwe has also condemned the rampant abductions in the country, calling on the government to respect the rule of law and end abductions in the country.
At the end of the day, it is not just an individual suffering, but the message it sends out, the whole community, the frustration the families go through. And in cases of forced disappearances, you've seen how most people are tortured, others end up even dying, getting permanent injuries.
The police is yet to respond to this matter despite numerous requests for comment. Becca Senyonga Mulinde, NTV, Weekend Edition.
Now, from the Vatican, Pope Leo XIV took office as Pontiff of the Catholic Church during his inauguration Mass at St. Peter's Square, marking the official start of his papacy. In his sermon, the 267th Pontiff called for unity within the Church and said it is with fear and trembling that he approaches the Church's followers as a brother. We do have more in this report.
Shortly after sunrise, thousands descended on St. Peter's Square for Pope Leo's inauguration Mass. Later, the Pope arrived in St. Peter's Square in the white Pope-mobile, waving to the crowds, marking the first time he had travelled in the Pontiff's official vehicle. The Pope then led the procession of cardinals into the square to start the Mass, during which he would be inaugurated as pontiff. Since his election as Pope on May 8th, Pope Leo had stayed away from many of the formalities of the office as he waited for the brief inauguration ceremony. The ceremony, enveloped in prayer, saw the Camerlengo, Kevin Cardinal Farrell, giving the Pope his pallium, a strip of lamb's wool symbolizing his role as shepherd of the church. Later, the Pope's close confidant and popular favorite for the position, Louis Cardinal Tagle, handed him the fisherman's ring, symbolizing his role and its tradition, which has roots from St. Peter, who was a fisherman. The Pope used his homily to call for unity in the Catholic Church and an end to wars around the world. Speaking in Italian, the Pope warned against marginalization of the poor and autocracy. He struck a chord by declaring that he was accepting the position with fear and trembling, approaching the Church's followers as a brother. Following the end of the Mass, Pope Leo met with dozens of world leaders, including US Vice President J.D. Vance and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, as well as his eldest brother, Louis Prevost, who was accompanied by his wife. The Vatican confirmed that the Pope would then be meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as he bids to weigh in on efforts to end the conflict in war-scarred Ukraine.
Now, back home, a fortnight ago, we brought you the story of Dr. Ken Chapman, an American dentist who had embraced the Uganda culture in order to better serve Ugandans for over 45 years. Today, we bring you Dr. Daniel Hugh Jameson, another American national who has lived in Uganda for 10 years, embracing the Ruchiga culture in order to better serve the people of Bwindi, Kanungu district. Dr. Jameson's story came to light when he presided over the graduation of several nurses trained at Bwindi Community Hospital, with his son translating to Ruchiga. We do have more in this story.
Over the last 10 years, 42-year-old Dr. Daniel Hugh Jameson has lived in Buhoma Village, Kanungu district, where he serves at Bwindi Community Hospital, one of the facilities run by the Church of Uganda under the Diocese of Chinchizi. Arriving with his wife and 3 children, Dr. Jameson also manages the hospital guest house, which he notes hosts visitors from all over the world.
We came here originally to support the work of the hospital, to help them however we could. So my wife is a midwife. She delivers women.
His wife, Rachel Elizabeth Jameson, works as a midwife at the hospital. The couple's children, Willow Ray Jameson, 16, Ansel Hugh Jameson, 15, and Sayuni Gift Jameson, 6, have all settled in Kanungu, speaking the local Chiga dialect with enthusiasm.
Izina ryanje baranyita Enso, ngina imyaka 15, kandi nkija kuno ya imyaka 12.
It was Ansel Hugh Jameson who was caught on video translating for his father. Ansel has the best command of the Ruchiga language, having arrived in Uganda when he was just 5 years old. He has taken a remarkable initiative by starting a football academy in the area, which allows him to socialize with the local children.
It was hard learning it, but I started off at a young age. I started off learning it at 5. So I never had much things in my brain to be disturbing me while learning Ruchiga.
Through his academy, Ansel has introduced fish farming to his friends, showcasing a unique blend of sports and sustainable practices.
Ebidiba tukabikora, twabihinga, nkizo nkabibiri ziwire, twamara twata amagi y'inyanja, byakura, baraguma barabirya.
On the other hand, his father, Dr. Daniel Hugh Jamson, strongly emphasizes the importance of mastering one's mother tongue. He urges children from affluent families to take pride in their heritage and not shy away from speaking their local languages.
They should learn in their mother tongue. They should read in their mother tongue if possible, so that they can communicate in the most intimate way possible with their parents.
He says that appreciating one's language and culture is essential for embracing one's roots, identity, and cultural pride.
My concerns would be in Uganda that people value English speaking over their mother tongue. In some primary schools, children are disciplined if they speak in the vernacular, and I feel like that's inappropriate.
Festo Kia, a friend and coach at Ansel's Football Academy, told NTV how the family has not only taught them to communicate in English, but also provided books that teach them about tourism, particularly birding.
Enso is my friend. He helps me. He gives me some books. Like, he helped me with the book of birding. I just go and I used to go in the park to look for birds.
Dr. Daniel Kasuda, a gynecologist at Bwindi Community Hospital, says that in addition to her medical role, Dr. Jamson's wife also provides comprehensive women's health services and fosters a supportive environment by using the local Ruchiga language. He adds that this approach helps women feel more comfortable during labor, demonstrating the powerful connection between language, culture, and healthcare.
My first time meeting her, I actually thought she had difficulties being with patients, being that I thought she would not be comfortable with the language, the local language.
The family's embrace of the Ruchiga culture has not gone unnoticed by the locals, who appreciate their service and dedication to the community.
Now, Uganda Airlines is en route to London Gatwick Airport for its maiden flight to the United Kingdom, making the UK its 7th destination. Uganda last had a direct flight to the UK in 2014, operated by British Airways. London accounts for more than 40% arrivals to Uganda, hence its importance.
After 3 years of anticipation and preparation, Uganda Airlines has made its first flight to London Gatwick Airport in more than 30 years, marking a return to what was its most lucrative route in the past. London is the 17th destination Uganda Airlines is taking. Officials at the airlines indicate that on top of trade opportunities, the United Kingdom accounts for 40% of arrivals to the Pearl of Africa.
This route strategically links Uganda with key businesses, tourism, and diaspora markets in Western Europe and beyond.
The airline is optimistic that its flights to London, more than its other destinations, will bring more growth opportunities for the national carrier, which is still working its way towards profitability.
This route will directly support growth in tourism, trade, and investment. Moreover, the new service enhances our competitiveness in the global aviation market. Its success will contribute significantly to revenue generation, network optimization, and long-term sustainability.
Our partnership with the UK is going to be deepened, particularly in terms of moving know-how from UK to Uganda, technology. You know, we take for granted when we see just human beings moving around, but that for us as economists, we are seeing know-how moving around, and we are likely to benefit from that because UK is one of the most efficient innovators in the world.
The flight to London also means reduced costs for travelers who have been spending more than $800 and over 10 hours for each flight. The airline's recent marketing effort saw over 3,000 air tickets sold for this route alone.
That report wraps up the first segment of NTV Weekend Edition, but here is still to come.
Still to come. A National Household Survey of 2023-2024 shows that while primary school gross enrollment continues to rise, advancement to secondary education has reduced. And In local soccer, KCC Football Club advances to the finals of the Uganda Cup, where they will play rivals Vipers on 31st May 2025 at Kadiba Stadium in Lubaga. NTV Weekend Edition returns shortly.
That's me having the worst day ever. But then I saw them and I knew my besties were both going through it. And that's when I had an idea. That's OT. The socials are having him right now, but not for long. And that's Chico, certified stress girly and goated producer. So we get to the spot, and what do these guys do? And just like that, I was having the best day ever. Sharing a Coke with my faves. Who will you share a Coke with?
Elevate your experience at Protea Hotel by Marriott Kampala Skies. Wake up to breathtaking city views from our luxurious suites. Indulge in sumptuous buffets and world-class cuisine. Host seamless events in our spacious conference facilities. And toast to the skyline with signature cocktails. For unforgettable stay, visit Protea Hotel by Marriott Kampala Skies.
To handle mishaps like a boss. So even when things get out of control, I'm always in the driver's seat.
ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. ICEA Lion, what's your plan?
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
Welcome back and thank you for keeping it NTV. You are still watching NTV Weekend Edition. Now, vitiligo is a chronic, long-lasting autoimmune disorder that causes patches of skin to lose pigment or color. This occurs when melanocytes or skin cells that make pigment and are attacked and destroyed, resulting in the skin turning a milky white color. People living with vitiligo under their association want the government to take up the responsibility to raise awareness about the condition, which would help reduce stigma.
This is Edwin Nduhura before he suffered vitiligo, and this is him today. Nduhura's condition: vitiligo is an autoimmune disease where the body cells attack each other, resulting into the loss of skin color. But Nduhura did not grow up this way. His ordeal started with stress brought about by the COVID-19 outbreak after he lost his job.
This condition, it started in 2019, and it started with the small patches on the nose, and then they kept spreading, but I didn't know that it would spread a lot. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor says, this one could be ringworms or whatever. She gave me some cream to apply on it. But after that, I could not see any change. And it started now spreading the whole body.
He says none of his relatives suffers from the condition. Nduhura tried to find medication in vain.
I was perturbed because my skin, I never used to apply any jelly or what. I had very natural skin. So the doctor told me, you have to do some IV, there's some lighting they put, and then you try to recover the melanin. Because where you see these spots, is the melanin is lost. So I could not, I went there for sometime like a month, but it was expensive also because going there, spent like, I think, between 5 to 10 million there in 1 month.
Ndhura later learned that his condition is lifelong and has no known cure.
Dr. Fauzia, and she told me, Edwin, this condition has no medicine. The best way, she counseled me, is just accept it and you will move on. The skin can come back or it may not come back. But she advised me to take a lot of vitamin C. And then she said, if you're taking any drug, please stop. It will not. All the head actually was white.
Acceptance was a hard nut to crack, but when he got over it, he now has to deal with the societal biases.
I could not face people because of my condition. I could not meet anyone because I never wanted to meet anyone to ask me what happened to your skin. I never wanted those questions. But in the midst of her talking, she said, what triggers this is stress. Try to avoid stress. Like the national ID, I got it before I got the skin. So sometimes when you go to the bank or where they have to see, is it you? Until you explain to them or use a thumbprint.
And this is what gave birth to the Vitiligo Association of Uganda in 2015. The executive director, Eva Atukunda, says they want to create a safe environment for anyone affected by the autoimmune condition.
We want it to be gone and gone, but I know that even when it's gone, now it's going to come back. So we always have the drugs. But what I do, because I don't like public opinions a lot about my look, how I look. It's common in Uganda. When you move, especially downtown, you at least every 10 steps you take, you have someone recommending something, someone recommending a pasta, or each doctor, like some herb, some stem cell, like different things. Everyone knows the cure for vitiligo. So there are always those many things that sometimes they can be tiring and emotionally draining. I mean, I would be very comfortable walking like, you know, with nothing on my face. But when you think about all the stress of people pulling you here and there, recommending this and this, so I use makeup.
The association has since conducted a survey to establish the kind of life people living with vitiligo are living.
You find someone only has to go to the garden up to maybe like 9. When the sun comes, they go back home. So that person's productivity is very low. So most of them are actually doing badly financially. And another thing is like children. When they go to school, they are bullied. When you get it when you're at school, especially, you're bullied. They call you names, very hurtful names. So you find most of the kids just hate going to school. So they end up dropping out of school, which is not good. Actually, there is what we do in those cases, we go to the schools and sensitize the school, their fellow pupils, so that when the child comes back to school, at least they are not isolated, stigmatized, and all that. Then another thing we're trying to find out is how much information do these people have, like the communities, how much information do they have about vitiligo? And people did not have any information about, like, they have the abalongo bakakosia information. There is no proper information about vitiligo. So it showed us that there is a big need to do serious awareness about vitiligo.
Whereas there is no clear treatment for the condition, healthcare professionals have modalities of managing it on a case-by-case basis.
The African culture will still have so many things about the different conditions that we go through. So some will take concoctions, others will take, How far can one go with managing the disease or the condition?
If it is erythrodermic, you usually advise patients, non-patients, because they are non-patients, because this is more of a cosmetic issue. To use sunscreen lotions, especially of SPF 50, to prevent direct exposure of that exposed skin to UVB rays that could cause mutations to bring about skin.
The only call from these people, the Association of People Living with Vitiligo, just like those living with albinism, is to help them access sunscreen. And if the government really could intervene and make the sunscreen available in most of the health facilities, then that would enable them live a better life. My name is Walter Mwesige, and that's all we had for you tonight in Health Focus.
Thank you, Walter Mwesige. Now, the latest National Household Survey 2023-2024 shows that while primary school gross enrollment continues to rise, advancement in secondary education has reduced. This data suggests that while access to primary education continues to grow, many children, especially in rural areas and particularly girls, are dropping out before reaching or completing secondary school. Norbert Atkunda has been looking at the study and now reports.
According to the National Household Survey, gross enrollment rates at the primary level have increased, rising from 116.8% in 2016-2017 to 119.5% nationally in 2023-2024. Rural areas saw an increase from 117.7% to 121.2%, while urban areas enrollment rose from 112.3% to 116.3%. According to UBOS, the rate exceeding 100% means that children outside the official school-going age of 6 to 12 years are also enrolling.
People beyond the 12 years, maybe even some below 6, who are in primary education. And part of this is because of course, the COVID that happened. We all know some people some were online, but some people are just at home seated until the year ended, then they resumed school. So they are adding to the numbers.
Yet, net enrollment rates, which reflect the portion of children aged 6 to 12 who are actually in school, are declining. In urban areas, net enrollment fell from 83.5% to 80.5% in 2023-2024, while in rural areas, it dropped from 78.9% to 76.5%. Nationally, only 77.9% of children in the 6 to 12 age group are in primary school, down from 80% in 2019-2020.
What does that mean? Of the population 6 to 12 years, only 77.9% are in school.
As per primary school enrollment by gender, the data of girls is consistent at 119.0%, but for males, there was an increase in gross enrollment from 117% to 119. But in terms of net enrollment, the percentage of girls enrolled dropped from 80.9% to 77.2%, while boys' net enrollment remained fairly stable at 78.5%. This suggests that while girls are entering school, many are not staying enrolled up to secondary level.
So the question is, where are the rest? And the girl child is not doing any better.
The drop is more alarming at secondary level. Gross enrollment nationally declined from 36.8% in 2019-2020 to 33.6% in 2023-2024. The rural areas saw a fall from 31.2% to 26%. Urban enrollment also dropped from 53.2% to 46.9%.
Secondly, now you're looking at the population that is 13 to 18 years old. These are supposed to be in secondary education. But for the gross, we acknowledge there are some who are overage or underage and they are in school. So the gross enrollment looks at that population. But of course, the secondary percentages are low because one of the things is the issue of transition. You have those who don't proceed. So they drop out after primary, whether it's for marriage or any other reason. So don't be alarmed by why the percentages are too low. I think this is this is the community that we live in.
Net enrollment, which counts for those aged 13 to 18 officially meant to be in secondary school, also declined from 27.3% to 23.2% nationally. Both urban and rural areas recorded a decrease, and girls are mostly affected from 37.3% in 2019-2020 to 33.2% in 2023-2024, while the male learners reduced from 36.2% to 34.1%. These figures suggest that while access to primary education continues to expand, many children, especially in rural areas, and more so girls, are dropping out before reaching or completing secondary school.
Poverty correlates in a way, directly or indirectly, are related to poverty. Whether you spend on them or they affect your pocket, that's why we selected these 4 indicators.
Nobat Atkunda, NTV Weekend Edition.
Now, area officials in northern Uganda have blamed security agencies of abetting illegal charcoal burning in the area, despite a presidential executive order in 2023 prohibiting the large-scale charcoal production to conserve the environment. According to a report presented to the Minister for Northern Uganda Affairs, charcoal burning remains rampant in the sub-region, which has resulted in high temperatures. During a consultative meeting with the leaders of West Nile, Lango and Acholi sub-regions, the Minister highlighted the need by leaders to engage local communities on the dangers of continuous cutting down of trees.
In early March, many parts of Uganda experienced high temperatures, which resulted in a prolonged dry spell. In parts of northern Uganda, the temperatures went up to 40 degrees Celsius, which has never been experienced in decades. This was attributed to climate change effects resulting from the continuous cutting down of trees, wetland encroachment, among others. In 2023, the President issued an Executive Order number 3 of 2023, banning massive charcoal burning and trade business in northern and eastern Uganda to save the environment. However, despite the issuance of this order, charcoal burning business is still rampant. According to some reports from area leaders, this business is still fulfilled and supported by corrupt officials who still protect and continue to cover up this illegal business.
Corruption is everywhere. This executive order could have been made with corruption across the board. Yes, that's why I'm saying before His Excellency makes the executive order, there must have been a thorough assessment.
We arrested a truck that had URA sales, and it became a very contentious issue. I wrote letters up to the Commissioner General of URA.
In an effort to spearhead implementation of this order, the State Minister for Northern Uganda Affairs, Kenneth Omona, met leaders in Lango, Acholi and West Nile sub-regions to discuss ways on how this order can be effectively implemented.
I want to thank the Minister of Energy for coming in with an alternative means of saying that we need to go with the green energy. And I think there should be pilot districts. Unfortunately, I have been seeing on social media, most of these gas cylinders are being provided only in the city.
Awareness should be a continuous process. We are doing our level first, and as we talk now, for us in a laptop, it is a mobility that normally makes alarm when it comes particularly to charcoal burning and charcoal trading.
In the meeting, some of the leaders pointed out that these illegal activities are a result of some security personnel and local leaders profiting from the trade they were tasked to eliminate.
It has removed it from the hands of the police to the hands of the UPDF. So in all these roadblocks, the charcoals of the army commanders pass every single day.
This has raised concerns, prompting calls for stronger oversight and investigations into responsible authorities.
The hunters should be hunted because the blame should be the actual people, the people, initial people on the ground cutting charcoals and burning, the security operatives, and us RDCs, and some of us should be investigated.
There are 6 in number who are managing the whole region, 9 districts and one city. That police unit is supposed to work with NEMA, with National Forest Authority, with UPDF, with district security teams and local leaders.
Minister of State for Northern Uganda, Dr. Kenneth Omona, acknowledged the gaps in implementing the ban and promised stronger oversight.
Concerned about the intimidation that they receive from what they call above, as far as the implementation of the executive order number 3 is concerned. I have given them assurance of protection from government because their job is to implement the executive instruction.
Meanwhile, the impounded charcoal has also become a source of conflict between local leaders and security operatives, with both groups disputing over auctioning rights.
At the time, the police and the UPDF clashed in Omolo, sub-county, when we impounded a truck. Now, this truck of charcoal should have been en route to the CPS, but instead it was commandeered en route to this is 550 something battalion to Lira.
Still watching NTV Weekend Edition. Sawia Nanyonga, a visionary leader, educator and leader in Masaka City, has dedicated all her life to empowering the youth. She is the director of 2 primary schools and head teacher of a secondary school. She spoke to Joycelyn Nachabule about her passion for education and transforming the lives of the young people.
Sawia Nanyonga's journey into education began in a humble household. She found joy in sharing knowledge with others, often taking on a teaching role among her peers. This calling only grew stronger, and after completing secondary school, Sawia seized an opportunity for a government-sponsored diploma in education at Mobende. However, her ambition would not be satisfied with just a diploma. With unwavering conviction, she persuaded her parents to invest in her future and instead pursued a degree in education that would become the foundation for her remarkable career. It was during this time that she gained hands-on experience teaching at a local primary school. A pivotal moment came when she attended a financial literacy training session.
I started teaching in a primary school in Zambia Parents. That is where I got my dream. I went to a training. It was about financial management. They told us how you can fulfill your dream, how you can save to fulfill your dream. That's where I started saving the little money. By then I was getting a salary of 150 at Saidina Bakari Kabasanda, where I used to teach as a teacher, a matron, an assistant bursar.
Nanyonga's leadership skills shone through in 2010 when she aced an interview for head teacher, outpacing 4 other contenders.
I became the head teacher to date of that school.
By 2015, her disciplined savings enabled her to take the monumental step of founding a primary school.
I started Grapeland Junior School because I had saved some little bit, and I had to see that I start the dream.
5 years later, her vision expanded with the establishment of another primary school. Today, her 2 schools in Nyendomukungwe division educate over 1,000 pupils.
And then continue with it in 2020 when I managed to buy Hope Nasaland Primary School, where we are seated here during COVID. And I bought it and we started it in 2022. For Grapeland Junior School, we have around 502 pupils, and here we have 584. Yet we have stayed here for 3 years only.
Earlier, the educator had noticed a significant gap in the education opportunities in Nyendomukungwe caused by poverty.
Many of them, when they go through primary education, they stop from there. So I want to empower these ladies, the mothers, because once you give an opportunity to the mother, the children will be in schools, even when the fathers are have not given support.
Her schools employ over 28 people with a special emphasis on women. She mentors them, instilling a growth mindset and encouraging them to rewrite their own stories through hard work and dedication.
I want to give people hope, especially the females because once you give a female an opportunity, you have given to the nation, because they will teach the kids, they will sort everything at home.
Nanyonga has now set her sights on representing the women of her constituency in Parliament. She believes in harnessing innovative ideas that can drive progress and opportunities for all citizens. Impacting over 1,000 young lives, Nanyonga Sauya now looks at serving on a larger scale, championing education and community developments.
I have interacted with different people at different levels, so I know how better I can handle the government. I've been with them when I was a counselor, when I have been a head teacher. I've interacted with different people.
Jocelyn Nachibule, NTV Weekend Edition.
Thank you, Jocelyn. We now take another break and return with news from the world of sport. Do stay with us.
Bodies are sustained by nature's endless gifts. From the food we eat to the air we breathe, the vitamins and minerals strengthen us, helping us glow and thrive. Introducing Vitamin N for nature. Give your skin a daily dose of Vitamin N. Experience Amara Skincare. Packed with Vitamin N. Amara. Embrace nature.
Yeah, possible.
Looks like whoever drops the ball buys a Pepsi. Go on, Jack. Sonny! Saved by Leah Williamson. Wow, Vinny Jr., game over.
Wait, there's only one Vinny J.
Pepsi, thirsty for more.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
We start off with local soccer, where KCCA Football Club have advanced to the finals of the Uganda Cup, where they will play rivals Vipers on 31st May 2025 at Kadiba Stadium in Lubaga. This after the return leg with Kataka FC ended in a 1-goal piece, with KCCA advancing to the final with a 4-1 on aggregate.
Coming in from Serunjoji, and Anyama quite very hard there for Anyama to get through as tries out this Namaisi challenge. Joao Gabriel! What a goal here from tries out this Namaisi challenge. Joao Gabriel! What a goal here from Joao Gabriel! And the fans darling gives Acacia Football Club. Isaac Owinyi with a good and quick strategy to deliver the ball, that long throw, that push. Very to see Acacia Football Club grabbing and getting at that back-to-back final. Chance here for Katak, and they have one.
First of all, we thank God for this moment. Then we thank the fans, the management, my players, plus the technical staff, the wonderful job they have done. It's not easy to come here and visit Kataka at their home to play and get some productive results. So it's a very physical team, which is not easy to allow you, which does not even allow you to play your normal game. They don't allow you to concentrate. So I welcome the players and thank them for that great job they have done. They have to now to mature. What they have to do is to know that they are good enough, they must be old enough. What they have to do now is to stay focused, work hard, such that come into the final, they can put something on the table as far as KCCF is concerned.
Onamaisi. So ball flicked down to the municipal grounds.
Now, over 2,000 boys and girls aged 11 to 13 have today concluded the 11th edition of the Watoto wa Soka tournament at Makerere University Sports Grounds. The two-day event that started on Saturday, organized by Watoto wa Soka, a local grassroots organization, uses football as a tool for education, health, and empowerment.
Girls and boys aged 11 to 13 from different schools and academies have had a fun-filled weekend competing in football at the 11th edition of the Slums Derby organized by Watoto wa Soka Foundation.
I have gained a lot of confidence because when we are playing, a lot of people come. It's like a Premier League game.
The event is known for raising prominent Ugandan football talents, including Travis Mutiaba, Mustafa Chiza, Regis Mato, Frank Tumwesje, among others. We ask youngsters the importance of participating.
We can find a lot of teams, many teams, playing in different styles of play, and it helps us to improve on our best techniques.
Expect to get opportunities to go into bigger teams like El Cambio.
The competition is also a scouting event where youngsters are spotted and recruited into better teams for further grooming.
So right now we have 18 scouts, 14 girls and 4 adults to search around all these different pitches. And we might find one. Remember, there are thousands. I think there are 1,000 or 1,200 players, and we might only pick one. So I talked to this child 5 minutes ago, and he said, I want to join El Cambio. I said, you go and play and do your best, but you have to be that one out of so many.
And the essence of this tournament like this is to bring together children for fun, for football, to celebrate being children and to make friends, to get scholarships, but above all, to just be children and have a time of their lives.
Francis Mugoya, the Chief Executive Officer of Watoto wa Soka, shares the success stories of the competition over the years.
So we've seen quite a number of players who have gone through this tournament. A good example is the one Travis Mutiaba, who was the MVP in this tournament in 2015. We've seen players like a couple of them who have been part of the under-17 AFCON in Morocco that took Uganda to the World Cup also. They've succeeded in different areas, but they've also been a part of this tournament in the last few years.
The Watoto wa Soka tournament started in 2013 and it brings together over 2,000 children from Kampala and neighboring areas. But the competition has also registered teams from Masaka, Mukono and Luweero in the previous few years.
And finally, Crested Crane star Sandra Nabwetame generously donated football gear to her childhood academy, Titan Katwe Academy, courtesy of her club, Santos Laguna. Arguably, Uganda's greatest female footballer, Nabwetame gifted the academy footballs, training bibs and cones, as well as ladies' attire. Titan Katwe Academy is a mixed training grounds for boys and girls from the Katwe slums and neighboring areas, and they practice on a small field in Chisule zone behind Katwe Market.
Nsanyuse nze ku lwange omanyi ndi mukazi Muganda nsooka babuuzaako era ne mbasanyukira amanya gange nze Naalongo Nalubega Teopista wano mu Katwe mazeewo emyaka 48 naye Sandra nze yangwa mu ngalo naye neewuunya nnyo era ne neebaza Katonda alina bw'ategeka akapiira yakazanyiranga awo mu kisaawe kyaffe ekyo kitakyali kyaffe nga mwazanyira naye neewuunyiza oba neewuunya dda kubanga talekereranga ku kyalo kwazanyidde mupiira n'olwaleero era yooyo ate nkyewuunya yandibadde agamba kati nze ŋŋanze ategeera ekyokukola aliko eyo atali wano kiki ennyo kyenjagala mu bantu bw'atuuka akunoonya n'agamba maama oli otya ti gye ndi gwe oli otya n'atambula n'akola ki n'agenda era
And that brings us to the end of NTV Weekend Edition this Sunday. We appreciate your company. I'm Mildred Pedun, together with Susan Mujawananda on Sign Language. Wishing you a fantastic night and a great week ahead.